Well, let's just get right to it. Here it is, our first casting of the new Skull deck box. This is our third version of the deck box. We've been on quite a journey to get here. This one is a little bit heavier than the first one. It's about a pound heavier than this model here. Much more lifelike, human-like that is, and human-sized. This is going to hold 100 double sleeves using dragon shields and perfect syllables. This is a 100 sleeve deck right here. We got plenty of room, maybe even for a couple more tokens. And then the jaw, right here, we have room for some dice. Generous little handful here. The jaw is held on with 4 magnets on the inside, so it's going to do a really good job of keeping everything shut. As you can see those magnets here. There's 4 on each side. And the lid is held on with neodymium magnets as well. We got bar magnets. This is number 1, the first out of the mold. So yeah, I'm really happy with this one. If you're a Patreon member, you can purchase one of these now. We're going to start out at $3.50 for these at just a regular Patreon level. If you're at the $5 tier, you'll get 10% off that. And if you've been at the $5 tier for over a year, you get a 15% off. So yeah, be sure to check us out. The link's in the description below. Now, big question, what's coming next? With our return to Phyrexia, our Patreon team has voted to have the Phyrexian altar brought to life as a deck box, and we've come a long way in making that happen. We still have a ways to go yet, but this is kind of where we're at. I am designing this to hold 100 double sleeve cards using dragon shields and perfect hards, and there'll be a little bit extra room. So this is 100 double sleeves here. We don't have a lot of deck boxes that hold the perfect hard, so this is going to be a great one to add to that group. This is 100 double sleeves using the perfect syllables, so there's significantly more room inside. If you've been following us, you might have saw the previous model I did, still this one, but we ended up cutting it in half. We kind of thought it was too wide and kind of had an air hockey table look to it. This is looking a lot better now. We still need to, add in the spines on the side. Those are still going to come off with some magnets, and we'll be doing all the details now that we have this base crafted up here. So let me know what you think in the comments below about the direction we're going with this one. Well, thanks for stopping by and checking out what we do here in the studio. If you want to stick around a little bit longer, you can watch some of the details on how we put molds and stuff together for something like this deck box here. And yeah, if you want to stay up to date with what we're doing, check us out every week, Sundays and Tuesdays, 4 to 7 p.m. Thanks for watching. Our master for the human skull is complete, and it's time to start sorting out the mold. So here's a closer look at the master before we get it all situated in our mold boxes. This is going to be broken down into 3 different parts. So we'll have 3 different molds, and each of them are going to be a 2-part mold. So I'll get those all put together and show you what that's going to look like. Here we have our molds all clayed up and ready for our first half of silicone. This is the biggest chunk of clay that it had to use just because the skull was so awkward. We're going to be pouring this way. This is my sprue hole, so I'll just pour like that. There's our mold box for it. That's how we did the lid. It's got a little bit of clay on it. It'll be poured like so, with the sprue being on this side. Here's what I did for the jaw. Same way, it's going to pour like this, sprues on each side of the jaw. And we coated all our pieces with beeswax. We made a nice sturdy box so we can reuse this again should we get past enough castings to burn out the mold, which is about 20 to 25, and be handy to be able to use the mold box again. I want to fill all these up with some silicone and let them stay in the pressure pot overnight, and we'll be ready to do the second parts. The molds have sat in the pressure pot all night, and the silicone is nice and cured. So the next step is going to be to take the backs off, get them all cleaned up, and situated back in the mold box for the second half. We have carefully removed the other half that we're going to be filling in, the clay work that we all did, and I've coated everything on the inside, the silicone rubber, with some petroleum jelly. That way the silicone doesn't stick. So there's side A of the skull. These were able to pop out real nicely. There's the jaw. We added some sprues here, so that's where we'll vent our casting resin when we pour it in. And the lid popped off just as easily. Nice and clean. We've got a sprue right there. So we're going to pour the second half of the silicone, and then these will be ready to start making some castings. The molds have set in the pressure pot all night, and I've taken them out of the mold box. Now it's time to dig into these and see if it's going to be a workable mold. So far, signs point to yes. It's pulling apart really nicely due to the petroleum jelly we added on right there. The little sprue comes out easily, so that'll be our vent hole. Good. So there's our lid. That's going to be great. No problems there. Let's check out this jaw. Very nice. The flashing on these is going to be very minimal. Very nice. Yeah, it's going to be great. All right, now for the tricky one. It's pulling apart pretty good. Yeah. It's always hard to pull the first piece out because it bonds really nicely. Look at that. Yeah. I'm going to clean off this flashing here from the mold making, and let's get a piece made. Let's get a casting made up. Now this is going to work great. Let's dig into our first casting and see how we did. Pretty good. Very little flashing. Cut off the sprue hole and install magnets on the lid. Good job. Still very little flashing, which is what we want. There's our jaw. Let's see how the main body of the skull turned out. Not too bad. Have a few little bubbles we'll need to clean up. This will make a great skull. Let's polish this up and see what it looks like put together. Here we are, all assembled, magnets.